The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome everyone to Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, you've just got to check out Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Each week during this hour, we're going to share experiences with our nonprofit agencies. And today, one of our co-hosts, one of the co-hosts last week, wait a minute, I've always been confused about that. If you're a co-host, don't you have equal billing? You can't have a host and a co-host. That'd be a host and a vice host.
True.
So if you're co-host, you're both co-hosts.
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, that's something to ponder in the new year. What can we say? So we've got Ray Chandler here, who's Executive Director of Community Workday.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Ray.
Good afternoon. No, it's not yet. Oh, is it? Oh, it officially is. Yes, good afternoon.
And it's also 2013.
It's also 2013. I know I wwrote the date wrong today already.
Oh, my gosh. Here we go. On a check. That's automatically
Yes.
a year old, and they won't cash it.
Yeah.
Very good. Very tricky, very tricky.
Yeah.
So, what have you got going on starting out the new year?
Oh my goodness. So, we do these remote area cleanup events. We are a partner with the County of Maui Environmental Management Department, and they sponsor something that's called the Quick Response Program. And what that is it's a program that responds to items that are dumped in our community, things that you'll find roadside like appliances, tires, mattresses, things that people, I don't know why they do that, but they do that. And so because that's a problem, there is a program called Quick Response to solve it. That program has been in existence for about 4.5 years, and about 2.5 years into it, I was thinking, why do people do this? What is it that motivates, bulk items being dropped on the highways? And a lot of times it comes down to either not knowing where to take those items or being very far from the places that you have to take those items to. And so, 3 and 4 and 5 years ago, you would see the road to Hana was covered.
Littered with them, yeah.
Appliances. People would drag cars down to the side of the road. People would light them on fire. The road to Hana has enough obstacles on it already. It doesn't need appliances and added challenges, to get on that road. And so we noticed that, one of the things about recycling is having a place to take it, having an opportunity to get rid of it. And so we started this, we call it remote community recycling events, where we'll go out into the community of Hana and we'll accept appliances, tires, scrap metal, and vehicle batteries, all of which are not accepted at their landfill or at any other facility on the island. So 3 years, there's one facility in Kahului that they can bring it to, which is where we bring it to. In the 3 years that we have started this cleanup, we've brought out over 1,000 appliances and close to 5,000 pieces of scrap metal. And so many thousands of tires. We've had tires in the community of Nahiku that people have dug out of their yards because the tire was underground. Same thing with vehicle batteries. And, of course, we know what kind of acids and things are in there. You shouldn't be putting those things in the ground. And really it comes down to an awareness issue, environmental awareness and education. And so that's one of the things that we provide when we're out there. But last year we got a nice push from the mayor's office and the council to do dengue prevention because the health department had started to see some cases that were of concern. And, dengue is spread by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are spread by standing water. And the things that hold standing water most often are tires. And then also pots and toilets and bathtubs and things that people, especially on the East End, tend to accumulate in their yard because they have nowhere to take those items. And so we started going really deep into communities, not only just having an event in Hana at the landfill and asking everybody to bring it, but going down into Lower Nahiku and Upper Nahiku and into Kipahulu and offering these services to people to get these things out of their yard. And it's a support for the landfill staff as well in Hana, because they have to say no all the time, to these residents who are really trying to do the right thing and clean their yard and bring them these items that can't be accepted. So we do these cleanup events every 3 months. We have another one coming up in February that's going to be out in Hana, and also on Lanai in the month of February. And so we tried to get to Lanai. Initially, it was once a year, because the first time we went, it was the first time that anybody had done that in 5 years. So once a year was great. And then now we've generated this kind of understanding that, you hold these items, we will be there. And then it went to twice a year last year. So right now we're kind of looking at the idea of maybe doing it quarterly, if we can get everybody on the same page about, the event time and duration. Because one of the problems with remote communities is that once you've left the community, you've left the community. We're located in Pu'unene. So one of the worst things that I could ever hear is that we've pulled out, we broke down our staging area, we're back on the island, and these residents, from Lanai say, I have my appliance, are you going to be here next week? And I'm sorry. I just have to say, what happened? We sent it in the mail. We've had some trouble with the post office actually holding on to bulk mail outs. For all of those people who are listening, this is important. If you use a postage bulk mail stamp, and that gives you a reduced rate on your postage, they will no longer airmail those items. They will now only ship them on boats. Wow. So our mail out for Lanai was out 3.5 weeks before the event, and it got there 2 weeks after.
Whoa.
Yeah, most recent cleanup event. They changed their policy that they no longer airmail those things. So even Hana, you have to mail it more than a month in advance if you're going to do a bulk mail out. And that's a bulk mail out. It's like one per post office box or something. But that's our kind of thing.
Right.
We need to go one per post office because we can't count on people reading the newspaper or, catching a radio or anything. Advertising in remote areas is a unique challenge. Lanai people talk to each other at the supermarket. They have these bulletin boards where you need to put the flyer up. If it wasn't on the bulletin board in the supermarket, it did not happen. It is not happening. Nobody's going to know about it, and that's their very real way of communicating with each other.
So now the things that you pick up in Lanai that can't go to their dump,
yeah.
Do you ship them
we
back
ship them
here?
Actually, we ship them to Oahu, because if we were to ship them back to Maui, it would take 2 barges to get back here. So instead, we ship them to Oahu, and there are refrigerant recycling, which takes out the freon from all of the freezers and air conditioners and refrigerators. And then there's Schnitzer Steel that takes the metal that doesn't have any freon in it. And then Unitech Tires, which has a offshoot branch over here on Maui, is located on Oahu. And Interstate Batteries, which also has an offshoot here on Maui, is located on Oahu, and they receive all of the products that we ship.
Wow. So there's an additional cost there, though, for you folks.
The shipping, yeah. I think that's very underrated. I remember the very first time, like I said, 5 years, there had been no collection on the island of Lanai, and people were just sitting with all these items in their yard for so long that they had repapered the interior of their refrigerators and were using them as shelves. That's how serious this was. Every water heater had become a smoker already, and it had already went through that life cycle as a smoker, and now is being recycled. So it was fun the first year that we went, but we got 17 containers worth of metal, 17 20-foot containers worth of metal, which was fabulous to get that much material off the island. But each shipping container cost $500.
Oh.
So 17 of them. We never know what the outcome is going to be. Actually, I was just saying this to somebody. We just came from the Maui County Council inauguration this morning, and we were talking about the future, and I was sitting next to somebody, and they were talking about recycling, because I was sitting next to them. And she said, I'm so happy about that battery recycling program. And I said, wow, I'm so glad. And she didn't know that Community Workday actually picks up the batteries from the place she recycles her batteries at. And so for all of you who don't know, there's a household battery recycling program on the island. We started it about 2.5 years ago now with the County of Maui Recycling Section, and we thought that it was going to be this little pilot project that maybe people would catch on. Maybe it would have 10 or 15 sites, one or two in every area that people live in. We now have 53 recycling sites.
My gosh.
We collect 31,000 batteries every 3 months. 31,000. Now I'm talking about AA watch batteries, power tool batteries, laptop batteries, cell phone batteries, rechargeables, lead acid, lithium. I did not know what kind of turnout we were going to get when we started this program. And so just like the Lanai recycling program, it's always, a roll of the dice. If you're going to get a lot of material, you're going to get very little material. What kind of awareness is there right now about that event? Sometimes we get fabulous publicity. Mm-hmm. You send out a press release and everybody prints it that time. And then maybe next time not everybody prints it, right? So the turnout is always directly related to the notice and the products that people have in their house, and we've been overloaded in the year of 2012 with batteries and tires and appliances.
When you started the battery program, it seems to me like I remember a lot of the hardware stores were places you could take them in.
Yeah.
But if you got 53, you've gone way past.
Yes. Oh my
stores.
gosh. It was all the Aces, then it was all the Longs, and that Whole Foods Market was an early partner, and now it's come down to where the majority of the places you would think you could take it, like the hardware stores and things, are already partners. All the recycling centers, the county drop box areas, wherever you can take your newspaper and your cardboard, you can take household batteries. But it's gone farther into like Seabury Hall Library, wants to have a battery recycling box. Kapalua Hotel wants to have, a box for their guests that come in and out and use batteries and things. And you wouldn't believe that these things fill up. We wanted to make it accessible, but this is like amazing, the kind of participation there has been. And I just think that it's people wanting to do something that they can do. I mean, that's one of the things about the environment, is there's so much that's out of our control. But Community Workday tries to bring into our circle of, influence or whatever things that we can personally do to take responsibility for the environment, whether that's recycling, which is one easy way we can all be a part of making our environment healthier, but cleanups, marine debris, cleanups, and just general beach cigarette litter pickup days, native planting projects, invasive species removal, painting over graffiti. These are things that people can do today. These are things that they can take action on, and that's what Community Workday is here for, is to provide the tools and the resources to do that.
And your list of volunteers in doing this must be incredible.
Yeah, it's not so much an endless list of people, you could call it any moment, as it is a list of people who, for their own, area, for their own group, for their own project, that they want to take responsibility in Lahaina for the beach, in upcountry Maui for the gardens, in South Maui for recycling programs and things like that. So it is a very long list. It was last year just over 10,000 people that had involved themselves through volunteerism in our program for whatever event it was that they were inspired to take action. I wish all 10,000 people were available every day because we have a lot that's happening at all times. Last year something like 351 projects I think we did in 2012.
I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
We said that's like one a day, only they don't happen one a day.
Yeah, they don't happen one a day. They happen for a Saturday. Like every Saturday there's a ton. But it is by nature our program is not Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. It's every day of the year that people are available to take action. So if we get a big group that says we want to clean up Kanaha, Beach Park, we want to pick up trash on Amala Place, Community Work Day is open on that Sunday because they're open on that Sunday. If it's a remote area recycling event in Hana, it's got to be when the landfill is accessible to the people, and that means it's the weekend, and so that's where I really give thanks for my staff and their flexibility and their, honest care for our environment, because we are always there. When the community is willing and able to participate, then our organization is open to allow them to do that.
Terrific. And we'll be right back in just a minute with Ray Chandler of Community Workday.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. As we were talking before the break with Ray Chandler here at Community Workday, litter and trash and clutter and how many other names can we give it?
Misplaced solid waste.
Yeah. We find it everywhere and in all different shapes, sizes, weights, colors, and like you said, sometimes it's even been reused once as something else.
Yeah.
I love that idea. The water heater became a smoker, and stuff. But at some point, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And so that's terrific. Now, other things that you guys are doing, when you're talking about your staff being so great that when somebody wants to do a project, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
We talk often here on the show about how the employees and the staff of our agencies are mission driven. They wouldn't be there if they didn't particularly have a special care for what you do in your agency. And so that really shines through in your situation.
Yeah, it does.
Because there is no way it could be an 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday.
No, not if we want groups and children and parents and people to participate. It's not Monday through Friday. And so we're lucky. Yes, we do have a very mission driven staff. And I think that, like you said, it does ring true for the nonprofits because we're not there for the money.
Right.
None of our employees are there because it's a great paying job. Not one person that I know that works in nonprofit is thinking that, but but we're all there. But in your case,
you can see the results. That's what I think is so fabulous. Yeah. You can see when you come out of that community, like when you go to Hana and you pull all that trash out of there. It's great for a week or two until it starts building again.
But the community appreciation, I think, is bigger than any other motivation for being in this job. I think that it is one that you can see a difference. You can go to an area that's a horrible dump site and you can leave it pristine. You can go to a place that had graffiti that was so offensive, and leave it with either a blank wall or something of our own imagination that empowers the community. We're getting into murals, and we'll continue to do that next year in conjunction with gardens and in places that are really graffiti hotspots.
You got some creative people.
Yeah, we have some creative people, especially our garden staff. They really are always very imaginative in the design of the plants or in the backdrop for the garden being some kind of rainbow and empowering messages for children. I think that's our biggest audience. As a staff, we're always looking at, the future of what we have control over changing now, people's perceptions and their ideas of how they're going to treat the environment. Their behaviors are still being formed as children. And so hopefully, when they're adults, we're going to have less of the things that we see happening on the sides of the roads and the environmental issues that we have right now by paying this, close attention to what our children are doing right now. And so one of the things that I'd love every child in Maui County to talk to their parents about is, if you own a truck, will you please put something on the back of your truck bed to cover whatever you're hauling? If you put your bags of trash in the back of your truck, and you don't even tie it, maybe there's just a small hole on the side, there is trash blowing out of your bag all the way to the landfill or whatever your destination is. I think that a big issue in Maui County, and certainly on Maui, is this idea of following the law that requires the backs of trucks to be covered. There is a Hawaii revised statute. You can be fined $250 if you're transporting any loose material in the back of your truck bed that's not covered. And the reason for that law is because it creates road hazards. Things fly out of the back of your truck. You may not be expecting that cardboard box that you were hauling to get up and move, but it does. It flies out, and even if it's empty, if it's in the lane of the oncoming car, they're going to think it's full. They're going to swerve. They're going, it does potentially and actually cause accidents in Maui County, and that's why the Maui Police Department has been so strong in educating about this law with us. We do uncovered truck law events at the landfills throughout the year to educate people as they're dropping their material. And consistently, 80% of the people coming to the landfill do not have a covered load. And, there's green waste that's been spilling out all down Pulehu Road. By the time they turn in, you could see the look of fear as they turn into the landfill. Some people make a U-turn right at the entrance when they see the police department sitting there. But, it's simple. It's a sheet. It's a rope. It's if you have a cargo net, excellent, but you don't have to have something that fancy. You can have anything, right, that's really going to keep those things in your truck bed. It's going to keep them off the road. And it significantly affects the litter in our community. We don't realize, how does that stuff get on the side of the road? I think we're past people actually, by and large, just reaching out their window and throwing trash. I think that rarely happens. Maybe that's 1 out of every 50 pieces of trash that ends up on the side of the road. The rest of those 49 pieces got there because they blew from somewhere or they blew out of the back of a truck. I've seen so many times a bag of trash probably flew out, but then that bag of trash gets clipped. And now there's trash all the way down 100 yards down the road, and that takes a lot of community effort. And back to the whole idea of volunteers, we've expanded our program over the years that I've been there, and I'm so grateful for the amount of ways that Community Workday engages in environmental protection. But now that we offer so many different things to do, like recycling and gardening, there is not as much emphasis on picking up litter. If you have more, could we build a garden? Oh, yeah, we'd rather build a garden than pick up litter. Well, who wouldn't rather build a garden than pick up litter? But unless this community stops making litter, we still need people to pick it up, you know, and it becomes this idea of, oh, well, I didn't drop it. That's not my litter. Well, it's everybody's litter. It's the litter that the tourists get to see. It's the litter that our kids get to see. It's the litter that the animals get to eat, and they are eating it. If you look at birds, they're eating it. How many people have seen a bird pick up a piece of trash? Fish are eating it. Yeah, thank you. It's happening all over the place, and that's where we have a personal responsibility, to our environment, whether we realize it or not. We all are tied together by the health of our environment. And so it does take those courageous people to step up and have some responsibility and say, I will take action even though I didn't do this thing. I will help you to fix it. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah. That's we could listen to you all day because there's so much out there that you guys work on. I just, it's like, how do you choose? I mean, have you ever said no to a project?
No.
No.
No, mostly because I agree always that these things should happen. You know, I mean, it does get scary. You know, we get called out to do a lot of homeless cleanups, you know, back to the quick response program that the county provides. Somebody has to clean it up. You know, when the homeless get moved on and they leave behind unimaginable things.
Yeah, I'll bet.
You know, it is my staff, you know, that goes in, and believe it or not, we do have volunteers that will help us. We have to have liability waivers, all kinds of crazy liability waivers to get people to go in these circumstances, but we do have people that will help us, and it's an extraordinary sight, and it's something that I hope that we as a community get a handle on improving in the future, because there's a lot of trash that's related to that, and just I think, you know, back to lifestyle, we all have choices. You know, maybe we choose not to help clean up, but instead our choice is to make less trash, make less waste. You know, whatever way it is that you engage in the environment, it doesn't have to be through the physical aspects of volunteerism, but it could be through your personal choices of not choosing that disposable mechanism for whatever it is that you're buying. If there's an alternative, like drinking from a cup with water versus using a bottled water, every time you have that choice, choose to reuse your cup and, you know, save that piece of trash. We, as a community, generate about 8 pounds of trash per person per day. The national average is 3 pounds of trash per person per day. So why is Maui County generating, you know, 2.5 times the amount of trash we're supposed to? Well, of course, we have a lot of tourists. They're not accounted for in our general population, and so that's what throws our metrics off. But we have a landfill, and that is it for us. That's our only alternative right now for disposing of our trash, and that landfill is a very precious and small resource when you think about the magnitude of digging a new landfill, you know, filling, lining. They're going through the process of doing that right now, but this landfill that we're working on didn't last as long as they had hoped for, because we're generating so much more trash than we need to. And it's that choice we all make, you know, buy things with less packaging, you know, don't buy things that are, you know, going to be one-time use. If you can get away you know, with that, do as much as you can to prevent the amount of trash that we're generating.
Community Work Day phone number
877-2524. Again, 877-2524, and we have a very active Facebook page. It is social networking. It is people getting engaged in our events and things, and we treat it as a place for people to check in and not only find out what there is to do, but find out what has been done. After the events, we post, you know, results and information about the events, and people post their ideas of, hey, how about a cleanup at such and such place, you know, or what's being done right now about recycling. I think that there's a lot more going on about recycling than we're all aware of, and it's a good idea to give us a call or check out our Facebook page and see what your options are, because we've moved beyond, you know, cardboard, newspaper, and bottles. We're recycling all kinds of things nowadays, and we need to do as much of it as we can.
That's terrific. And I know you want to talk a little bit about gardens. I've just got a couple minutes that we can put in for that, but I think you've been talking about cleaning up the land now. Let's beautify and make the land work for us a little bit.
Thank you. So we have been participating in building gardens in various places around Maui County for the last 2.5 years as a part of a CPPW grant that we got. And those gardens are meant to both actually feed people and as tools for education to get people thinking about growing food and seeing how easy it is, how accessible it can be, and how much more our life is enriched by eating those things instead of some of the other things that we've been eating as a community. And so we've started about 2.5 years ago building gardens where I think now we're at something like 19 different locations where there's been edible landscaping, native landscaping installed, places that are either educational tools where you more interact with the garden and see that it's there and accessible. There's places like at the Cameron Center center where we have installed some edible landscaping and native landscaping. And then there are active community gardens like UHMC that's being built right now. The first full-on sign up for your plot community garden on a UH campus in the state of Hawaii.
Wow.
And so it's being built right now. It's getting its final touches. We're using an innovative building tool called earth bags, which is filling these long like stockings with this mix of cement and dirt and sand and things that are on site to create retaining walls and garden beds and things. It's really beautiful. So we are actively building, and as we build this garden and move on to some of the gardens that we are going to do in 2013, we'd love to have volunteers. And that's volunteering is bigger than volunteering. It's actually feeding yourself. For all of you that are listening, anybody who volunteers at a community workday project gets a edible plant start script, so they can cash that script in for an edible plant start of their choice. And we grow over 60 different plants, edible plants, up at our greenhouse in Oma'opio, and that is chards and carrots and beets and every kind of little lettuce and arugula and things that through your volunteerism, you can build your own home garden. And so we want it to be bigger than helping, that site to grow their food, but we want to help our community grow its own food as they do their volunteerism. And so 877-2524, that's the phone number for Community Workday Program. We would love for you to volunteer with us in 2013 to build your garden and help your community.
Wow, what an opportunity. Learn how to garden so that when you do get your starts, you can go out and do it the right way.
Exactly.
Tomatoes are the things I love to grow.
Yes.
And I have such horrible luck with them. And, my neighbor tells me what I'm doing wrong, but it's like, okay, this time I'm going to do it right. And it seems to have the same end result.
Yeah.
But one of these days I'm going to go and volunteer and find out what you do need to do for tomatoes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Pest
Okay.
control.
That's true. That's
Yes.
it. That's it. Big time. So, Ray, thank you so much. I don't know how you do all you do. And I know you've got a small staff, and you've told us about your 10,000 volunteers. And that's obviously how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And our community is so much better for it. Thank you from all of us.
Thank you, Susie. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Thank you for being on the show. Okay. Next up, we have Cesar Gaxiola from J. Walter Cameron Center. Hi, Cesar. How are you?
Hi, Susie. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, we all survived, I guess, at least the transition to the new year. I don't know about the year and as it's coming up, but just for a moment, Ray kind of commented on the council swearing in this morning, and I know you attended it as well.
Yes, I was there. Yeah.
And I think they had on the program originally they were going to have Brian Schatz give the keynote speech as the lieutenant governor, but as we know, in the last week, a lot of things changed. So who ended up being the keynote speaker?
Calvert Young.
Calvert Young.
Calvert Young,
okay.
the finance.
State finance director.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, cool. A Maui boy. Brought him back for that. Good. That's great.
Yeah.
So everybody got sworn in.
Everybody got sworn in. The new council directors, and two of them new.
Two new.
Two new, yeah. Don Guzman and Stacy Cribel for Molokai.
Molokai, yeah.
Yeah.
And now this afternoon they'll be organizing. That's my understanding, at 1 or 2 o'clock.
I think it's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock they have the organization meeting.
Yeah, so tune in into channel 53.
53?
Yeah.
And see how that election goes. We all think we know, but I guess there's always chance something could change. But I think all the moves have been made, so that would be awful if they had to move everybody again. The person we're talking about, of course, is the incoming chair, Gladys Bissa. And Cesar and I have both worked very closely with her in the past and hope to continue in the future.
Definitely.
We're thrilled to have her as the new council chair and looking forward to a good year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, that was a great experience, especially for me working so many years with Gladys and the whole staff, for Maui Economic,
Yeah, Maui Economic Opportunity, and then she's on your board at Cameron Center, isn't she, or was?
Well, we still talking about it because she's so busy. She's
gotcha.
just so busy, and
That's hard.
It's hard, and Gladys, she's always attending meetings. Besides the county council, she goes to other meetings. Kula Community Association or La Jaina or other places. So she's just a very busy lady. Yeah.
And I think that says a lot for her and the knowledge that she has, because she picks up information at all these different meetings she goes to, and that helps her build that foundation for when she's ready to act on something. She really knows what the community is feeling and saying and thinking.
That's correct. Now that you touch upon it, you have to have the balance of information. You need with you, so when you're ready to make a decision, you have it.
Right, and you know who you can go back to for more information
yes.
as well. Speaking of that, we're going to go back to Paul at Pacific Source for some information. Hold on.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we're back talking story here with Cesar Gaxiola, the executive director of the J. Walter Cameron Center. And Cesar has just joined the board of directors of the Maui Nonprofit Directors. He's just been elected our new vice president.
Yeah, following your footsteps.
There we go. That's great to know there's somebody ready to step up.
Uh-oh.
What is that? Is that a forewarning or something?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you've been at the Cameron Center how long? 4 years?
Going into 6.
Going
6
into
years.
6. Wow.
6 years, yeah, in October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
It goes fast, yeah. It goes really quick.
And you've done a lot of projects over there, I know, to kind of rehab the building and put in innovations that have been cost saving for the clients your clients, which are the other nonprofits who rent space in the center.
Yeah, funny that you mentioned that. Last Friday, we were kind of making a list of how many projects have we done in the past 5 years, and we actually pretty close to $5 million on projects, capital improvement projects, the photovoltaic, energy efficiency, water conservation, all kinds of stuff, you name it.
Wow. And the funding for that has come from many different sources.
All different sources, private foundations, private donors, of course, County of Maui, thanks to the mayor and the council for that support. Mm-hmm. Also from different departments at the federal level. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we touch, almost everybody.
Well, it's such a great facility. I mean, we take a look. You've got how many different agencies in there?
We house right now 16, and we adding 2 more.
Okay, so 16, 18 agencies that have homes that normally wouldn't have homes if they had to pay the full market price for rents.
That's correct.
In our office buildings.
Yeah, and the thing is like I tell people, this is a one-stop shop. People parks at one place. They're able to access these 18 nonprofit agencies, and each one has a number of programs. So, one location, over 100 programs. We have the Simply Healthy Cafe, we have the therapy pool, and then we have the meeting facilities too.
Wow.
Yeah, and then down the road is MEO, and of course, Wailuku Health Center next to us too.
Right. So you've got, you're right, it's a one-stop center.
One-stop, yeah.
Whatever. Now, if people don't exactly know who they're looking for, can they stop and come in the office and explain what their problem is? And
Definitely. We had that every day. People goes and I just talked to Mary. Okay. Which Mary? Did she mention the last name? What it is? And so we gotta go down the list. Is this for rent? Is this a health service? Is it education, or what it is? So we kind of narrow it down, and okay, that's Mary with Huino Kelopono, or that's Mary with American Cancer, or whoever.
I gotcha. Well, that's great that you can provide that part of the service.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of people who in their excitement of getting someone
Yes.
who finally says they can help me.
Yes. Yeah.
What piece of information don't I have? I don't know exactly where they are in the Cameron Center.
Yes.
Or I've forgotten the name of the agency, because not all, everybody knows some agencies,
Yeah.
but we can't possibly all know all the agencies that can help us.
And it's and people just come in on Monday. We got a lady stop by and she said, "Oh, I went down into Maui United Way. They located in Wailuku, but 20 plus years ago they used to be located in the Cameron Center." And so she goes, "I went to Maui United Way and they were closed. So can I drop a donation for them here with you?" And we said, "Sure, yeah, no problem. This is convenient. That's fine. But we always open to that because Maui is so small. Everybody knows everybody, and so at one point or the other, a lot of agencies were there. Some are with us. Last year, for example, we have Easter Seals relocated to Waikestra in Wailuku.
Right.
This year, we have Office and Agent is going to be joining us. And so,
they are.
They are, yeah. So they're gonna come over in March
Wow.
1st. So people they think about nonprofits and they go, "Oh, go to Cameron Center. We're gonna start there."
That works for me. Yeah, start there, and if the agency's not there, you certainly know where you can
Yes.
find them.
Yeah,
You've got the list pretty well down now.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, who's where. So you've done all this renovation and remodeling work. Is there still more to be done?
Definitely, yes. We reached about 45% of what we needed to be done. The facility is 40 years old, and so we need to do another 55% to be on top and complete the updates. It's all the electrical, the plumbing, AC, windows, doors. A lot of things changed in those 40 years, safety codes and
That's true.
A lot of things. So we have to always be on top and constantly do updates and things like that.
Things wear out more than they used to.
Definitely, we're close to the ocean and we always get the north breeze. So a lot of salt comes in, and whatever is close to the window and it has metal on it, it's gonna rust.
Right. And I know our Pono building up here on Market Street.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Some of the windows are showing the effects of the ocean, and it's up on Market.
And it's quick. It's
Vineyard,
within 2-3
yeah.
years,
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck? You think you're far enough away, but you're not.
You're not there.
And I guess the other thing that brings to mind is kind of on a little bit of a sidetrack is our cars, because we
Yes.
all come into this area and park every day.
Yes.
And wash those cars as often as you can, get that stuff off. I
Yeah.
used to fly back and forth to Honolulu every day, and parking in the parking lot at the airport,
Oh.
it gets covered with the exhaust and so forth from the planes,
Yeah.
and that eats through the paint too. So I'm kind of used to this.
Definitely, yeah. But what is good with the car is the wax. If you can do a wax at least once a month, in this area, that should help you.
Yeah, help you maintain that look. Keep the car looking new and running. Well, it doesn't affect the running necessarily, but so as you get into the more of the electrical and windows and things that you were talking about, your process is kind of going one office to the next. Is that how you go through?
No.
Or did you do some of that stuff with some of those you've worked on already?
Well, actually, what happens is it would depend on the funder. At one point we got funding from a community development block grant through the office of the mayor and of course federal funding, and so that funding it can be done in a certain area where only people of X amount of income,
low income.
low income, certain requirements. and it has to be service directly. It cannot be administration usage, and so so it depends on source. Then we address one area, one office, or if the funder allows to, let's say, replace windows, and it doesn't matter which building or which area, then we just will go and start replacing windows.
I see. So, well, that's you have to be kind of particular about where you apply for funding then to make sure you cover the right where the need is.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. You have to be kind of read very good your grant request and make sure you understand it, and so you can spend the money accordingly, and and provide the reports and everything that's needed, from the funder, because each funder has a different type of reports and requirements and criteria that they want you to comply with. Yeah.
Now, who does all that?
Us.
Us. You've got a staff of what, three?
Three.
Three.
Yeah, three of us.
It's terrific. Terrific what you do over there.
Yeah, so we have a couple of part-timers too, but we have a gardener, a part-timer, and also maintenance person.
So tell me about the garden that you did with Community Work Day.
Oh yes, definitely, and Ray just left, and I wanted to say thank you to Community Work Day and Ray and everybody there. They worked with us during 2012, and they helped us in a couple of areas in Cameron Center. We were talking about this funding and this capital improvement, and so we've been finding funds for those, but to find funding for a garden, is a different story. So that's kind of one of the areas that we wish we can come back and retouch and redo. And so Community Work Day has been able to help us with native plants.
Oh.
Native plants, and they look beautiful. They look beautiful, all green. And
now, is this one particular area, or is it around the building?
It's kind of in between the buildings.
Oh, okay.
In between.
Is that the courtyard in the back?
No. It's behind the main office.
Okay.
Kind of the courtyard in the middle to one side. Mm-hmm. The Cameron Center has this real open facility,
right?
And so we have a lot of landscaping all around and in between the buildings and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So it's not an edible garden.
No, not that one. It's just a native plant.
Okay.
Native, yeah. But people likes to walk in between lunches, and some of the agencies walk with the clients and stuff, and wheelchairs or whatever, and so they see that, and to them it's a peace of mind. Mm-hmm. Some days is very quiet, and they just like to walk. They just like to be able to,
right. Or just sit and enjoy it.
Yeah, just sit and enjoy the breeze and stuff, and look at those beautiful plants.
Oh, how neat!
Yes, yeah.
Very neat. And then they teach you how to take care of them.
Yes, they do, and they also have been able to come back once a month, and kind of look into and we have our gardener too, and we also work with Kalimo Maui.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, you've got them right there, yes.
Yeah, they house at the center, and they also do the landscaping for us, and they do an excellent job. They have a lot of hardworking people there.
They do, yeah. They do a lot of our landscaping in our different properties too.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it's great. It's great when you can use the sources of other nonprofits, and I mean, they get paid for it.
Yes.
That's their income to do their programs as well.
Yeah.
So it's I've got to come walk back there because
sure.
Most of the time I just drive straight down the drive and either go to your meeting room or over to MEO's Family Center. Now the meeting room that you have is open to the public, right?
That's correct. Yeah, they're open to the public or anyone that wants to use them. The agencies use them too, the resident agencies, and also nonprofits that are not housed in the center. They come down, and businesses. We have some of the banks and some of the stores. They do the staff training and things like that at the Cameron Center. Yeah.
Interesting. So you've got it's like one large room that can be subdivided.
We have that, and then we also have two other rooms downstairs, smaller, for like up to 16 people each. And so, we have a block of 5 hours. It can be in the morning or early afternoon and then late afternoon. And so, people comes over and make the reservation and stuff, and, they're able to use it. We have some businesses, they do a meeting per month, and some people do a meeting per week, and some one meeting per, for the whole year. And so, it depends what type of training or workshop they're going to do, yeah.
And you've got one problem solved that a lot of other people can't solve, and that's parking.
Parking, yeah, we have lots of parking. We have lots of parking. Yeah, I think we are about 90 stalls over the amount that the county, chairs that you're supposed to have. Yeah, I think we have like 90 plus.
Wow.
I mean, over.
Yeah,
over the amount, yeah.
So now if everybody's in their offices in the facility, you still have, and they park there, you still have 90 for other people?
Well, no, actually, altogether, I think it's like 300 plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you got parking on three or four sides, yeah?
You can go 360 on the building.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think about it.
Downstairs and the lower parking lot, and then we have a parking lot between us and the hospital, and then a parking lot in the back facing Maui Lani and Baldwin High School, and then actually the three parking lots, they kind of divide into two. We have the lower and the high section on the three sides. So yeah, no, it's parking we have plenty.
Yeah, plenty of parking. That's great. And then you've got so people can come and reserve the space. Do they pay a deposit as well as a rental and then get their deposit back, or
there is no deposit.
No deposit.
They can give us a call at 244-5546. They can also check us up online on Facebook, CameronCenter.org, or Facebook, and you just go Cameron Center, and go to meeting facilities, and in there, it will list all the different information and stuff and requirements. And most people just tend to call us, or some people tend to stop by and they want to see the facility,
right.
And
And that was all just renovated too.
Yes, we did the restrooms and the kitchen. We have a small kitchen on the side, and so that was renovated about a year ago. Yeah.
So that number again was
244-5546.
5546, and just call and ask about the meeting rooms and availability and the sizes and so on and so forth.
Timing and all that. Yeah.
That's terrific. Cesar, thank you so much for being here. The time just flies when we're having fun.
I know it does. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me, Susie, and Happy New Year.
And thank you, same to you. And thank you to everyone out there for joining us on this week's edition of Maui Nonprofit Notes. The show is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. If you're building or remodeling your home, please stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to the nonprofit executive director, to their organizations, and the community of Maui. Today we visited with Ray Chandler of Community Workday, she's the executive director, and with Cesar Gaxiola, who's the executive director of the J. Walter Cameron Center. We encourage everyone out there to get involved by giving, advocating, or volunteering for your favorite nonprofit. Do it today. What are you waiting for? It's a new year. This is your year. Get out there and volunteer. Please visit our website at www.mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. You see an agency that you're interested in, click on that agency, and it'll take you directly to their website so you can find out more about them. Mahalo for tuning in, and don't forget to join us again next week at noon right here on KAOI Radio, 1110 AM and 96.7 FM, when we'll be featuring representatives of two more member agencies of Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association and Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific. Everyone, aloha and have a great week.